Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tim Walsh coming to you live from the Illinois Fire Service Institute on the campus of the University of Illinois, where you can see it's another beautiful day here. We got snow, 26 degrees. Last week it was 76, but we decided to train outside today because firefighters go to cold weather fires. Today we're going to be working with 3M Scott, Motorola, and SDI, talking about accountability and control on the fire ground and communications, the three issues that kill firefighters across the country. So we're going to be utilizing our Fireground Company Officer School personnel to show you how to operate with new technology. So let us know where you're watching from, get signed in, and I'll be back with you in a minute to get the day started. As you can obviously see, this is going to be a live fire evolution, so get ready to go. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tim Walsh coming to you live from the Illinois Fire Service Institute. We're talking fireground control and accountability and communication. All across the country, and every NIOSH report that you read, firefighters are killed because of those three things, not being handled on the fireground. Today we're working with our Fireground Company Officer School and Command School, actual new company officers, new chief officers, and we're going to do an evolution using some new technology to try to get a handle on that. Most companies in the fire service work in a silo. They don't share information. That's not the case today. My partners, the partners of the Illinois Fire Service Institute, 3M, Scott Safety, Motorola, and SDI are all working together to provide answers so that we can control fireground movement, we can have good comms on the fireground for the incident commander, and we can make better decisions as chief officers and company officers. So let us know where you're watching from. This is an interactive program. If you have questions as we're going through the technology, go ahead and type it into your computer there and we'll answer them when we get time. But we also want to show you the live fire demonstration where three companies are going to move in and put this fire out using the new technology. So the first person I'm going to speak to is Mark Krizik from Motorola Solutions. And Mark is a firefighter, 30 years in the fire service, and an engineer with Motorola. So that's why we have him here. We train with Motorola all the time. Motorola engineers come on our campus and utilize their radios to make sure that they're functioning appropriately for the fire service. Mark, tell us a little bit about what we're doing today.
So Tim, thanks for having us here. Motorola appreciates the opportunity. What we're doing is we're going to be showing how we integrate with the systems definition incorporated software, the SDI software, the accountability software, using a variety of Motorola's radios. Motorola's radios have been a part of this personnel accountability solution starting all the way back in 2004 when we first came out with the capability. But now here we're using the radios that are specifically designed for the fire market. I'm going to start with this one right here. This is the Apex 7000 radio. This radio was Motorola's first radio designed for the fire market. The big knobs, the big buttons, the green color make it easier for the firefighter to be able to operate this radio with the gloved hand. This radio, you can see it's been through a lot. IFSI has been using these radios for the last 8 years. They've taken a lot of abuse, but they're still kicking. So that radio, I should mention, give credit where credit is due. Motorola has been coming down to the Institute for the last 20 plus years, bringing engineers down here, putting them in this type of situation, putting them in the gear, letting them use the radio so that they truly understood what it's like to use radio communications in this environment. And the design of this radio specifically for the fire market came from that experience that the Institute was able to offer for us. That was our first radio in the fire market. Then we came out with the XTS 6000 in 2011, and then the XTS 8000, our tri-band radio, in 2016. This radio is capable of all the frequency bands that public safety uses in the United States today. Same design, big knobs, big buttons. But what really is starting to change the game for the market right now for the fire service is this radio here. This is the Apex Next radio. This is a combination of a two-way radio and an Android operating device that allows us to do things that we could never do before in the fire market. So now using things like our Smart Connect capability to communicate when we're out of coverage of the radio system, Smart Messaging to do text messaging and images, Smart Locate to send GPS coordinates to instant command, and even Smart Mapping. I could pull up a map on this phone and show where my firefighters are at using the GPS technology. And then one that's really cool is now this Vicky capability where we can use the speaker mic and we can push with one button, change channels, change the volume, things like that. So change to IFSI channel 3. And with the single button push, it'll change the channel, it'll increase the volume, turn scan on, turn scan off. No longer are you trying to remember which button does what. It's all through the single push of one button. And now with that capability on that Android device back here, with the gloved hand, I could pull up the map, I could pull up different things that I want to control to the radio, and it's built to the same ruggedization as all of our radios have been. This radio in particular was built and designed to the specifications defined by the fire market itself, by the fire service. This radio is able to withstand the same extreme heat environment that the turnout gear is spec to, 500 degrees for 5 minutes, direct flame contact for 10 seconds, and it's going to take that and keep on ticking. So we're greatly appreciative of the opportunity to be here and to be able to use these tools in this environment to improve communications for the fire market, improve firefighter safety.
That's great. I think we covered everything new on the radio that I'm carrying today, and I'm going to be using it today while we're doing some live burns. Let's get Chip Mullen up here from 3M Scott. We're going to kind of go over the new pack that I'm wearing and talk about the interface between the pack and the radio and the computer program. Chip, come on up here with me, please.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Paul. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too. Nice to see you as well. 3M Scott really appreciates the opportunity to come in today and partner with IFSI, a key customer of ours, and talk about some of the new features that we have. Today, Tim, I'm going to talk about the C5 RDI facepiece. What this allows is Bluetooth communication between the C5 RDI and Motorola's APX 6000 Bluetooth-enabled radios. The power button is down here. Inbound communication comes through the temple pads here on the top of your temples. What happens is communication goes into your skull and down to the back of your ear, so you no longer rely upon your ears to hear, because hearing is actually a very big difficulty on the Fireground today. Our microphone is actually placed not in the regulator, but right here in the facepiece, so it's close to your mouth. It allows clear and precise communication. Simple PTT to key up to talk, no longer have to lean. And inbound communication you can actually understand now when it comes into the C5 RDI.
We're going to be using this today with our interior fire chief. Yesterday we posted the 5 positions of command, kind of what we're using today. So take a look at that if you haven't had a chance to look at it. There's a training document on that post as well that you can train with later. But we'll be using the 5 positions of command, and the interior chief is going to be using this today. So we should be able to hear his communication without question, he should be able to hear everything that's going around in the fire section. Talk about some of the interface that the Scott Pack does, Chip, for me, along with the computer platform and the radio.
Absolutely. So this X3 Pro is set up with what we call SIMS, Scott Electronic Management System. Basically what it does is it allows this SCBA to communicate with incident command, and it serves 4 purposes. There's 2 commands the firefighter can send to the commander. I want to withdraw, which is simply pushing and holding the gray button, and also the pass alarm that we all know in the fire service industry. The 2 commands that the commander can send to the firefighter is I want you to evacuate, or I want the whole group to evacuate.
So that's through the pass alarm. That's not through the radio. So it's a redundant safety feature. Say like a member makes a human mistake, they forget to change their radio battery, they forget to leave, they forget their radio at the firehouse. They can still get important life-saving information.
Electronic PAR as well.
Electronic PAR as well. Pretty cool. What am I forgetting, and what separates this pack from all the other packs out there?
Well, the one thing I wanted to add, if I could, is the nice thing about this is we collaborate with API software manufacturer SDI. So you're going to do that today and get to see it actually work. What differentiates Scott from everyone else is the cost of ownership, total cost of ownership, which everyone considers. The backup redundant pressure reducer system, we're the only SCBA that has 2 independent pressure reducers versus just 1. So you're always guaranteed air in case of a failure, which failures can always happen on a Fireground. Also, 2, our robust durability, aluminum alloy back frame, and also, 2, our best-in-class warranty, which is as long as you own the SCBA.
Oh,
it's covered.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to get back to you in a few minutes. Chip, I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Tim.
We'll
Greatly appreciate it.
I'm going to talk to my counterparts. We're going to go here. We're going to go live. We're going to get the fire going here. I'm going to talk to Longan Clock from 3M Scott, and you'll start hearing company's dispatch. Go ahead, Longan.
Yeah, so thank you. My name's Longan Clock, Global Product Manager for Connected Systems at 3M Scott. And so as Chip was talking about with the SEMS telemetry system, what that does is it allows for the firefighters to be able to transmit data from the SCBA that tells you how much air is left in their cylinder, whether if you're low air alarm, you've stopped moving, a pass alarm goes off, you can acknowledge a par check. But the really impressive thing that we've done now, which is the first of its kind in the industry, is we worked with SDI to develop an application programming interface between our telemetry system and their personnel accountability system. And so it's a very fantastic combination of those two solutions where you get the hot zone information of the SCBA and what's happening with the firefighters inside, but you also get the added benefit of all the incident management features that SDI brings to the table.
Are we forgetting anything else? That was a lot.
That was good, wasn't it?
That was a great paragraph, yeah. What I like about it is, like we talked about in the beginning, all three companies are speaking to each other.
That's right.
To establish command, control, and accountability for inside firefighting and the outside incident commander to make sure everybody knows what's going on and we have strict accountability to members in the building, hopefully reducing serious injuries and line of duty deaths, which are pointed out in every NIOSH report for every line of duty death. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
Okay, thanks, Longan.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring in Brian Krizik now. Brian, we're going to stay right here by this computer because we have companies arriving on the scene now, and I want you to be able to talk about the software that we're using and the radios and how they populate. Please go ahead.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you for having us. So System Definition is the supplier of the software that is integrating that radio and the Scott SIM system to be able to provide the incident commander with one application and mission critical information. Who's on the scene, what unit did they ride with, what department did they come with, and also it gives us a heartbeat of what's going on with the communication component of the radio as well. So we have the ability to tell if a radio is on, if a radio has been shut off, a radio is on the proper channel, and we also have the ability to send multiple alerts to the radio that the firefighter will interact with from within in the building.
So as guys are walking up on the scene now, this first two engine company, you can see if their radio's on.
Right.
You can see if it's on the right channel.
Absolutely.
And as they came from like a real run at home, this would self-populate for the incident commander when either he arrived on the scene or when the company arrived on the scene, correct?
Right. So this is just another tool in the toolbox for the incident commander, right? As they arrive on the scene, the units are coming on the scene, we're seeing the Engine 2 officer, Control 1, Control 2 nozzle, they're all there, they all have their radio on. We also have the ability to see push to talk. So as firefighters are talking, we're able to see that. In an event that we have some miscommunication, we could go back to this application and determine who it was that made that muffled Mayday request.
Now, where's this system already being used? What cities are using this already and been testing it and checking its capabilities?
So we have multiple big cities from around the country that have been using this. We have FDNY that's been using this for over 10 years. The Houston Fire Department, Detroit, Chicago, Boston, multiple big city departments, and we also have multiple small fire departments. For instance, 65 fire departments that surround the city of Chicago, from small volunteer fire departments all the way up through the city of Chicago that are using this system. We also like the idea of being able to track everything electronically. So all of the communications, all of the push-to-talks, the tactical alerts that are taking place are being logged. And in the event that we needed to go back and do a post-incident analysis, or we wanted to go back and research what took place in the fireground, we're capturing all that. We can go back and look at that.
Yeah. Hey, Longan, could you come back in here? I got a question already while we're operating. Stand over here, buddy, so we can still see the screen. How do the radios connect to the SCBA? Is it through Bluetooth?
No, it's a telemetry radio. A ZigBee network that gets set up. It's a mesh network that connects the SCBA to the base station. Over here is a gateway that receives a radio signal from the SCBA. That sends the data into the software.
So it's a better system than what we were talking about earlier. And we're going to talk loud here now because we're forcing entry, make an entry here to try to put this fire out. It's better than what was in years past.
Yeah, in years past what we had was a very simple interface
That just showed the SCBA. It's more air management than an accountability solution, right? We know what were happening with the firefighters inside as far as the air levels and whether or not they stopped moving, but that was about the extent of it. And while it was a useful incident management tool, it wasn't as useful as this tool that SDI has here today.
Yeah. Can all radios be used with this, or just Motorola right now?
So right now, the ability for that radio to receive these tactical alerts and to populate into the system, that's a Motorola Apex radio that has that capability.
Okay, very good. Let's talk about some more about the SDI platform.
So one of the things that we see is not only do we have accountability of who and how many people showed up on each one of our units, we also have the ability to, as the incident expands, to move people and organize our incident using this. So a lot of times this is just a drag and drop. And we know, for instance, that we're having companies that are going to work. We have engine 2 that just is going interior. I'm sliding them into the interior sector so we have an idea of where they're at. We cite now, the RIT team just arrived on the scene. They turned their radios on. We have 3 companies that have just reported in on the RIT company, and now we have accountability on them as well.
Yeah, and you can see our incident commander just arrived on the scene along with his tail, Bobby Hoff from the Chicago Fire Department, who's working with the incident commander today. All our students in company officer positions and chief officer positions are being tailed by senior instructional staff so that we can do sets and reps. We can get live fires over a period of 5 days, use this technology, and make mistakes on the fire ground, or actually the training ground, so we don't make them on the fire ground, right?
Right.
So, and part of that is operating this platform along with the grease board platform that an incident commander would do. So you would need 2 people up at the incident command post,
Typically,
right?
right.
So you got your incident commander and probably your plans chief, which is what we're operating here today. Plans is working on this board. We're operating it for him today because it's the first time he's seen it.
And we've seen that throughout our deployments across the country. We've seen where we've had people that are assigned to accountability. The Houston Fire Department, the Hartford Fire Department, they're using this extensively. They're able to use hardware that works in all weather environments, which is key, right?
Right.
We have the ability to get that information to that incident commander, that mission critical information. If I could, maybe we could have you just switch to a different channel and we could show that, what that looks like on, oh, here's the radio over here.
Yeah, Mark took my radio. Not surprising. I forgot that he didn't give it back to me.
But as the incident expands, we're getting in telemetry from the air packs. So I see that we got 2 air packs on.
Yeah.
I have the pressure on the air packs there. And again, we're getting those push to talks. We're getting all the organization that's taking place as people are moving in. I'm sliding them into sectors and giving them assignments.
Yeah, and you can see on the grease board as well, the plans chief and the incident commander are notating what's going on, where lines are going in on the first floor, searches, benchmarks are being made, right? Positive water supply, water on the fire. I know this, we have this capability here. Let's talk about this capability on the computer as well.
So the other thing that we have is the ability for us to use this system to track some of those tactical benchmarks, right? Electronic tactical worksheet. So in this case, for instance, we got fire attack started. Companies are working on conducting a primary search, and our RIT team is established. So now I'm just using this list to track what it is that we're doing on the fire ground, making sure that all of our objectives are being met. And again, we have that accountability system running in the background, giving us the opportunity to come back to this in the event that we have some type of catastrophic event that takes place in Mayday, tactical withdrawal.
Which we're going to work on that here pretty soon for the training evolution, where we'll see that come up on the screen, right? And we can do that. So it sounds like that might be happening as we speak, where you just turned on your radio. But you'll be able to see that on the screen. And the best part about this computer program, right, is you'll know immediately who's in trouble, right? And talk about getting a PAR, how it cuts the time on a PAR.
So with the electronic accountability system, one of the things that we have the ability to do is send a message to every radio that's working on the fire ground, and allow that firefighter to respond by hitting or push the talk button. And we've seen across the country where we have big incidents taking place, and 80, 90 firefighters, for instance, Houston Fire Department, 80, 90 firefighters at a 211, and they're running a PAR, electronic PAR, that's taken 4 to 5 minutes to complete. Where in the past it had taken 45 minutes, an hour to get through that whole PAR.
Yeah, let's
use a lot of radio.
Let's me and you talk about that just for a minute here. As an incident commander going through that PAR when you have a Mayday on the scene,
Right.
how debilitating is that for plans, incident command, and safety to wait that long for a PAR and not be sure where those members are in the building?
Not only to wait that long, but also to tie up that radio traffic. And that radio traffic is key at that point, right? We need to be able to have clear communication, but yet at the same time, that PAR is very important to us. So in order for us to capture who's okay and who it is that we have in trouble, when we do that electronically, we're not tying up the radio channel to get that stuff done.
Does the computer screen record the information from the run to be able to play back for like a critique or post-training event a shift day later?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we have the ability to do is we're capturing all this stuff, we're logging it electronically. And now the incident commander could come back to that, open up his benchmarks, look at the amount of time that it elapsed for them to get a primary search done, how long it took them to get a positive water supply established. They're capturing all that, and we can come back to
let's go back to the benchmarks to show that. If we get the camera in here and we get a good shot of it, about the benchmarks on a structure fire.
So you see right now that, let's just say we have our positive water supply established. We're working on the primary search and fire attack is initiated. We're going to the info view. Now we see the elapsed time and how long we've been working on those tasks. So especially in the event of a Mayday, one of the things that we have the ability to do is determine how long that firefighter spent in Mayday because it's logging that, it's tracking that.
All right, so how does the three companies working together, not in a silo, sharing information, change the firefight for these guys fighting a training fire, but for firefighters all across the country tonight that are going to go into a burning structure and risk their lives? How does it make us better incident commanders? How does it make us, we got something going on right here on the video
what we have is, we have a system that's pulling together not only radio traffic, but
1 second, I think we just had a Mayday alert. Come on. Yeah, we got one radio in Mayday, chief officer. So it sounds like on the radio what I just heard, it was an accidental trip. But you could see that come up on the radio, and we immediately knew we had that alert on the outside of the building that there was a Mayday, but it's held in check now.
And so one of the things that we could do at this point is we could conduct a group alert and send out a PAR to all of our personnel that are working. And now we see that a PAR request is going out, and all the firefighters are going to respond to the PAR by hitting the push to talk and responding back in that they receive that.
So they don't even have to talk on the radio. All they have to do is hit their mics, as we're seeing now.
Right.
Guys are checking in now and hitting their push to talk button, and that's how you get the PAR now. So they don't have to get it by company, they don't have to get it by individual. It's just everybody carrying their radio. And we know that radio was on because we checked them when they first arrived on the scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of a great fail-safe.
Yeah.
And it really helps us a lot.
We're also seeing, as the people are coming in, we're seeing those push-to-talks. We're seeing some of those critical messages that are coming through, and being able to go back to this to see that Battalion 4 is the last person that made a transmission cuts down on that factor of wondering who it was that was calling.
Yeah, you can see our camera person is moving around, kind of taking in the fire, listening to radio traffic, watching plans, watching incident command. Interior's in the building now. Chief Hoff, did we get a report from Interior yet as to conditions and benchmarks?
Yeah, they got water on both floors. They're doing it's marked on the board, the primary and secondary. Got 3 lines on the fire. Primary is done on 2 and secondary on primary.
Right, and why are those benchmarks so important on the fire ground?
Well, to make sure we got status of the fire, status of the search is a critical time element here, especially for the latest. So the companies get in, follow the line in, start vetting as they go, and they research. We work with the incident truck concept. There was an incident first one, the truck concept.
Most importantly, and I know this is near and dear to your heart as mine as well, what do we believe here at the Illinois Fire Service Institute as far as running a fire, running a command? Why are we all geared up on the outside of the building, ready to get in the fight?
We, as chief officers, we should be interchangeable to any position. We should be able to step up if we're class chief, be able to step up with superior. If we're command, if something happens on the fire ground, we should be able to step into any of those roles as a chief officer, the 5 positions of command. That's why we're trust pressed and ready to go.
Very good. Thanks, boss. I appreciate your help. Hey,
One of the things that we see here on that one fire officer that called the Mayday, we're getting that the air bottle is down to 0. We're seeing telemetry come through on other air packs that are working inside the building, and we're able to monitor where their air level is. In the event that they did have a Mayday, we're seeing where their air level is right off the bat.
Yeah,
and that's that mirroring between Scott, STI, and Motorola.
Yeah, and I know we've answered some questions already, but if you're watching right now and you have a question, now would be a great time for you to type it or send it our way. While I have these subject matter experts here, it looks like we have a pretty good knock on the fire. Yes, Chief? On all floors?
They knocked the fire on both floors. They're into final searches.
Very good. So obviously we pushed the time frame up today. This isn't, depending on where you live in the country, the fire is going to move slower. It's going to take longer to get people there, equipment, manpower, person power, etc. But we wanted to compress the time frame today so that you could see all the technology working together. And we're going to talk to the interior chief when he comes out of the building to kind of get some feedback from him on what was going on the inside. And then I have my partners here from 3M and SDI and Motorola to answer questions. So let me check my phone here. Excuse me, I'm trying to watch 10 things at once and watch your questions, so I apologize. We're going to get some views of the Fireground here now. I'm just going to be quiet for just 1 second because I know you guys want to see what's going on. So we did have one question. If you guys want to come over here with me while we're talking, the guys from Motorola and the guys from 3M, I got Brian here. The question was, and I think I know the answer to this, but I want you guys to talk about it. I know it's a part that we've been working on for a while. When a firefighter, or in this case, it was the interior chief that gave the Mayday, do we get location on that of the member inside the building? We don't, right? But that's a piece that we're working on, and I know it's close to being done. Can anybody talk about that?
Well, I mean, the Motorola radios have GPS, but we know that when you go inside of a building, GPS just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
There is efforts going on to try and improve that, but it's not ready for the fire market at this time. I know that the Scott devices have the pack tracker that will get you close, but right now this technology is not pinpointing the exact location of the firefighter in the building.
Okay, and I know there was another question about recorded radio traffic. So that depends on the jurisdiction. Okay, so I like the jurisdiction that I used to work in. They used to record dispatch traffic, but not fireground traffic. But I know FDNY, they record fireground traffic as well. I would recommend that you should probably do that.
Yeah.
You know,
again, one of those things that as this technology evolves, right, trying to bring that all together, aggregate that all to one spot, and being able to go back and replay fireground traffic is essential.
Yeah, and one of the things we talk about all the time on the Fireground, and you just saw a company officer come out to the command post and do a face-to-face with the incident commander. Face-to-face still works.
Absolutely.
We have all this great technology, but I know you're a fireman, and everybody here today is a firefighter somewhere, wherever they live in the country. Going to the window and giving some pertinent information to the incident commander sometimes is the fastest way to get information out and for decisions to be made. So we still want to use all the techniques that were given to us when we went through Proby School.
Absolutely, and one of the things too is to just think of this as another tool in the toolbox, right? Just like a thermal imaging camera, it's a tool in the toolbox. This is another tool for that incident commander. It's giving them the ability to see who's there. It's giving them the ability to monitor their air, do some air management, and to get a feel or get a read on the status of that firefighter's radio. Is the radio on? Is it on the right channel? What's their battery level? We're monitoring all this. So again, we still run the fires the way that we need to run the fires. This is just a tool in the toolbox, something to enhance that information that the incident commander has at their fingertips.
Yeah, hey, Long, and talk about a minute for me here how uncommon this is for 3 big companies in the fire service to be working together on a common problem. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit the other day, where in the fire service, fire departments, when they have a call, when it gets overwhelmed, they call for help, and mutual aid shows up. And the fire service expects their vendors to behave the same way. And that hasn't always been the case. A lot of times it's hard for businesses to come together. We always have a little bit of our own agenda. I think what's happened, what the evolution was, is certain businesses have decided where our expertise lies, and we understand Scott Safety isn't going to build a better incident management solution than what SDI has, right?
Right.
We're not going to build better radios than what Motorola does.
Right.
But being able to work with those, everybody wins, right? The fire service gets a holistic solution that they can work with that is tying everything together. They don't have to go to different sources for that information anymore. It's a really big deal for the fire service.
How long does it take to deploy this system, Brian?
So back at home where I had this running on my MDT, so it's always up and running.
Okay.
So there's zero time. The other nice thing about that is we do have some departments that pull it out when they get to the scene. It depends on their hardware setup, and we've seen departments that can get that done in a relatively short time. A minute or two, they could get the system set up, and they're ready to roll.
That's awesome. Hey, Chief Hoff, can we get Chief Scott out here? I'd like to talk to him. He was the interior chief tailing the instructor. So those are great questions, you guys. I appreciate you asking us all these, because we were hoping to get questions like this so we could cover every aspect of this new technology. And this new technology is out in about a half a dozen big cities across the country, which we talked about. How many cities total, ballpark? A couple dozen?
I think that we talked about 200 current users.
200 current users of this product all across the country. That's pretty awesome. I'm going to get Chief Scott out here, who was the interior fire chief. He's right behind me. Hey, Chief, come on over here. This is Brian Scott, everybody. Brian Scott's retired fire chief from Evanston, deputy chief in Western Springs, Illinois, part of the Fireground Company Officer Program and Command Program. Tell me about, you were wearing the new harness. You had the integrated face piece with voice communication, phone conduction. How was it?
Communication was excellent. I was really surprised how well the integrated face piece worked. And I got to tell you, the enhanced accountability features on this, along with the ability to get the cars done more efficiently, even tactical alerts, I think is going to be a game changer for us in terms of safety.
Now, you were one of the first chief officers that purchased this system on the North Shore, is that correct?
On the North Shore, that's correct. Over 60 departments engaged with the system, and they've been very happy with it.
Yeah, has it reduced your part times on Firegrounds?
Oh, yeah.
Has it made company officers and chief officers taking a little bit of weight off their shoulders, knowing when members are in the building, knowing they can give comms, and checking off those boxes as it relates to the NIOSH reports?
Especially at that command officer level, absolutely.
Yeah, would you recommend this?
I would.
Yeah, okay. What else? Anything else that I forgot to ask you?
No, not at all.
Okay. Hey, let's get everybody back in here while the guys are critiquing. Why don't we move over here by the sidewalk? Chief Scott, come with me. Yeah, we're doing fine. So, hey, so the guys are critiquing now, and the biggest part of what we do here in Fireground Company Officer School and Fireground Command School is making sure that we come out and we talk about what we did inside the building. Now, this is one fire that they went to today of 4 that they're going to get during the daytime. They've already had 2 this morning. They'll have maybe 1 or 2 more this afternoon, and they're going to get them in 8 other burn props that we have here, live burn props, high-rise, streetscape. And this next evolution is going to be an all-hands evolution. Tell me about the all-hands evolution, Chief.
So our all-hands evolution is going to be in the streetscape building. So it's going to be a 3-story residential commercial structure where we have at least 9 companies operating in the building with multiple chiefs to kind of stress the importance of accountability, communication, and everyone at every level is working in that all-hands fire at a really high level. So it's a great way to test the company officer philosophy, command officer philosophy of the program, and it's going to be a real test for the students, but they'll come out at the end, I think, very successful.
Sets and reps, that's what it's all about, right? Sets and reps. If you would just excuse me, I want to tidy up with these gentlemen behind me. All right, so hey, Mark Krizik, come on in here. Let's talk about anything that we forgot today, or how does Motorola feel about this product going forward and the interoperability with the other 2 companies?
Well, like I said, we started out in 2004 with the accountability solution, and so this is just a natural progression of it. We've been working for some time to get the integration with the Scott Air Pack, and now we've been able to get that done. And so we're very pleased to see that this product is getting more and more acceptance in the fire market. And so it's something that it's software largely, so there's a lot of evolution that's going into it. We're adding new features, more enhancements based on the feedback from the fire service itself. So this isn't the end of the line for us from this product perspective. We're going to continue to build more into it to continue to make it a better product for the fire market.
Thanks, I appreciate your time. Hey, Longin and Chip, come on over here. Chip Mullen and Longin Clark from 3M Scott Safety, one of our biggest partners here at the Institute. How do you think it went today, guys?
I think it went great. Super exciting to be a part of it. Glad you invited us down.
Yeah. Anything that you were surprised about, or I mean, it's pretty cold. Obviously, we're all standing out here freezing because we're not doing any work. We're just running our piles, and we're not inside the fire building where it's warm. But I mean, the technology worked great. It was cold outside. There were no issues with the radios, no issues with the interface. I think it was a pretty great day. How about you guys?
Yeah, it was a fantastic day.
Okay. And lastly, Brian Krisick from SDI, come on over here. So SDI is working with other companies now, and there's a possibility this platform may push out to other SCBAs, right?
Right.
Because it's for the good of the fire service.
Right.
And that's what we want to do here. So one of the big things we do here, training, education, research, information. If it ties into that for the Illinois Fire Service Institute, we're all about it. That's why you guys are here. You donate product to us so that we can test it, as does Motorola, as does Scott 3M Safety, so that we can get things done, we can get training done and test new products and hopefully push that out to the fire service. Do you think today went fine? Any issues?
Absolutely. I mean, it's about the safety of the firefighter, right? And that everybody goes home, right? And so when we could take technology and use that to enhance the fireground safety component, that's a win, right? SDI is committed to doing that. We're committed to working with all of the partners. Anything that we could bring in that's going to assist us with making that fireground safer, that's what it's all about.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Hey, I'd like to thank 3M Scott, Motorola, and SDI for participating in this grill today, and the students in the Fireground Company Officer Program and Fireground Command Program. They still have several more fires to go to today, so they're going to be busy. They're going to be working through dark, and you can see that the snow has started now. It's another beautiful Midwest day. We're going to be back on the Facebook forum in December, probably doing a little active shooter training up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then back for our usual Christmas special where we talk about Christmas safety with my good friend from the Champaign Fire Department. Thanks for joining us today here on the forum. If you have additional questions about what you saw here today, type them into your computer now, and we'll come in and answer them after we post it to our YouTube channel. And before we post it to our YouTube channel, it'll be up live back on our Facebook in a tape segment later on this afternoon, probably about an hour. Give us a little while to get it on there. But thanks for joining us today here at the Illinois Fire Service Institute on the grounds of the University of Illinois. This is Tim Walsh signing off. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and we'll see you next month.